Hey, Shop guys, friends and family. I hope you guys are doing well. For those of you that don't know me, Anya Apchugik Thosh. My name is Thosh, and I'm from the Salt River people right here in Arizona, the Anakamirautam. I'm one of the co-founders of the Indigenous Wellness Initiative, Well for Culture, and a board member of the Native Wellness Institute. And what I wanted to do here is I wanted to share some food ideas, and I want to utilize manuman, Ojibwe Wild Rice. It's one of our favorite foods that we eat in our home. Chelsea, my partner, some of you may know her and you may follow her. She's the co-founder of Well for Culture. This is one of her favorite foods. She's Anishinaabe. And manuman, Ojibwe Wild Rice, is one of the staple foods of the Anishinaabe people in the Great Lakes region, United States and Canada. It's their staple food that they have been sustaining off since creation. It's in their creation stories. It's a sacred food for them, and we just love it. And every time we go to the Great Lakes region, we always bring back some manuman for us. And we like to make it in stir fry. We like to make it also in a kind of meatballs. We mix like elk meat or deer meat or bison meat or grass-fed beef and make like a really nice meatball. We actually put that recipe on our website, wellforculture.com/recipes. And so while we're on the subject of recipes, I've kind of talked about this before, that we don't really advocate for recipes. What we advocate for is the idea that you are knowing which foods are right for your body because you've done the research. Maybe you got your blood looked at, but you have also found out which is right for you, how your body responds. You listen to your body, find out what those foods are, and find out how to prepare variations of those foods. So we know what we like, what works for our body. We eat lots of wild game meats or grass-fed beefs, grass-fed bison, wild catch salmon. And we incorporate a lot of fibrous vegetables and autumn totabav, different types of beans from the Southwest. They're high in fiber, low glycemic, give you that full feeling. And we incorporate a lot of vegetables that we get at the grocery store, as well as dark leafy greens like lacinato kale and spinach and things like that, avocados. And so those are kind of just the way we eat. And we don't tell anyone that they need to eat this way or that way. That's up to you to find out and do your research. But of course, we always advocate for a lot of ancestral foods because our ancestral foods, as we know, we have a spiritual connection with them. It ties us to the land. It's a direct connection to our ancestors. So that's what we advocate for. We try to advocate for establishing a healthy relationship with food and find out which foods are right for you and find out the right foods that are impacting your body in a good way. And then from there, try to learn to prepare these foods in different ways, mix and match, make variations. If you are reliant on recipes and you run out of recipes, you're more likely to just fall off and go to the restaurant and eat some food that you don't really know what's truly in it. You don't know the ingredients. You don't know the quality of the food. You don't know who made it for you. Or you're more likely to just eat some processed food out of a bag or a can or some microwavable type of food. So it's best to really just get comfortable with cooking and experimenting and constantly try new ideas and look for the things on the internet and come up with your own. All right, so now what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna go ahead and test my blood sugar to show you where it's at right now before I eat. And then I'm gonna test it after I eat, 1 hour and possibly 2 hours after. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Go ahead and get some blood going. Get some going. Let's get this right here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's at 86 right now. 86. That's usually what it's at. I haven't eaten for about 4 hours, and so now it's time for me to eat, obviously. 86. You see it's 1:40 p.m. All right, so I'm gonna start working in this meat right here. I've already cut up a lot of it. This beautiful elk meat right here was gifted to me by a young hunter named Shadron Joseph up in Oregon with the Native Wellness Institute. And this elk was culturally appropriately harvested in a good way. And that makes a huge difference. And that's what our people have always done. We've always had this spiritual relationship and this ceremony of gratitude when we harvested an animal. And I grew up eating and hunting elk with my dad as well. And so I just love it. And from a nutritional standpoint, elk meat right here has a lot of protein per serving, and it has a lot of other good vitamins and minerals in it. All right, so these are the veggies that I'm going to be using. I'm just using some purple cauliflower and some broccolini and some orange bell peppers. And then I'm going to use these tart red cherries right here just for a slight sweetness. And these are just the vegetables that we have access to at the local grocery store. We always try to buy organic, so that way it's herbicide and pesticide free. It's not going to impact your total health in a bad way. So obviously you got to try to use what you can get your access to. So these are what I'm going to be doing. And I'm just searing these up along with the elk meat, and that's it. The manumin is already ready to go, and I'm just mixing it all in towards the end. So it's really simple. So I made this manumin earlier this morning, and we always like to just make a bulk at the top of the week and just use it over the next couple of days. We don't let it sit too much longer, like the whole week. We like to eat it up right away within a couple of days. Already smells good. That seasoning really brings out that flavor. Woo. All right, so it's only been in here cooking for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little bit more. And again, I don't want it burnt, because when you burn meat, it releases some of the carcinogens in there. Vegetables too, we don't wanna do that. So I'm gonna start throwing in my veggies. This purple cauliflower is more dense, so it needs more cooking time. And I'm just gonna like soften it up to free up some of the nutrients in there. Throw in this broccolini. Then I'll save the bell peppers and those tart red cherries kind of towards the end. Then I'm gonna throw in that manumin. We just keep it real simple. Again, I'm no chef. Maybe there's more tricks. Maybe some chefs know more things to make. I don't know those. I just keep it really simple, and I use some of the simple seasonings, and it tastes good to me. All right, so it's getting to where I want it. And if you're watching the clock here, I think it's only been cooking for about 4 minutes. Now I'm gonna throw in these tart red cherries. I already chopped them up. I diced them up a little bit more. These ones don't have any sugar on them. This just really brings out like a little bit of a sweetness to it. And let's bring some of this manumin in there. And if you got a big family, you can really make a lot of this in one sitting and make it fast. Because I know some of you are busy, you got all kinds of things going on. You got school, you got work, you got a bunch of kids running around. Then I'm gonna use this real sea salt. It's just an organic onion salt. It's a good brand. All right, so you see that's it. It's pretty simple, not much to it. It's really simple. Healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to take a long time. This took really a few minutes. If you already got the manumin ready, just sear up some meat and vegetables, stir it together, and throw some seasoning on there. It's real simple, real easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat, and then in an hour, I'm gonna show you what my blood sugar levels are at. Yum. All right, so I'm finished eating now. I ate that and the rest that was in the pan. It was so good. I just love it. And you guys will love it too if you try that. So, all right, so now I'm gonna show you the time, and it's 2:26. So we'll come back at about 3:26, test blood sugar, and show you where it's at. Remember, before it was at 86. So a little bit more about manumin, Ojibwe Wild Rice. It's an aquatic grass, actually. It's not like a grain like rice, you know, from Asia or anything like that. And it does have a little bit of protein in it, and it has fiber in it, and it has some other vitamins and minerals in there. It's low glycemic. It doesn't cause a huge spike in glucose, and that's why it's good for people who are borderline diabetic, or people who are full-blown type 2 diabetic, or people who are just really looking to keep body fat off and to keep their weight at a healthy level. It's important to be able to know which foods are going to impact your blood sugar and your insulin. And we want to be having foods that are not going to keep your insulin high all day long. So that's why certain foods are important to know the ingredients in them, to know how they impact your blood glucose. And it's also important to space out the meals and allow your blood sugar to regulate, and allow your GI tract to digest your food and all that. So I am not a type 2 diabetic, but I like to check my blood sugar because I like seeing how different foods impact my blood sugar. Because as we all know, diabetes is one of the diseases of modernity that's plaguing our people right now. And our people, unfortunately, have been given the short end of the stick with the loss of our lands and our foods and our resources and things like that. And we're in a phase of healing. And one of the symptoms of this out of balance lifestyle is diabetes, as well as many other types of diseases in modernity. So it's really important that you take initiative to maintain a good way of life and prevent diabetes. So type 2 is reversible. We've heard of people reversing that with changing the way they eat and moving their body more and other types of lifestyle factors. But it's also important for those of us who are not diabetic to maintain that. All right, so now an hour has gone by and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling satiated. I'm not feeling full, but I'm not feeling hungry either. It's just right. And so we're gonna go ahead and test my blood sugar. Remember, I finished eating at about 226. It is 3:34 now, just about an hour passed. So let's go ahead and see where the blood sugar is at this time. Give a little prick, get some going. Let's go ahead and wipe my So it's at 99 right now. So it's at 99, still pretty good. And yeah, that's awesome. And that's pretty much every time how I eat, I check my blood glucose. It's really never over 110. And I usually cut off my eating at like 7:30 p.m. and I'll just fast all night, go to bed with low blood sugars, and then wake up, like around 5:36, have my black coffee, do some movement. And then usually I eat like around 8:30 or 9, and then I train about an hour and a half after that. So that works out for me. And that's one way I've been able to keep my blood glucose low and keep myself insulin sensitive as well. So training, fasting, eating the right foods, getting right sleep keeps you nice and insulin sensitive. So hopefully something I said here helped you in some way, shape, or form to shift your thought process in regards to health. Please feel free to share this with your friends and your family. It's important that we start getting everybody thinking about our total holistic health. So that's all I got to say right now. I babbled on enough, and we'll speak some more. The Hood Guy.